Hello. I would like to talk about marksman's focus. I'm going to explain how the node works, clear up misconceptions surrounding it, and as a bonus, I'm even going to explain the best way to do the penance related to this keystone. So, the first thing that needs to be cleared up immediately is that this node is very unintuitive in how it should be used versus what it's trying to make you do. This node is presented like it wants you to use slow firing, precise weapons. You get a headshot kill and then move on, and you combine it with something like camouflage to reward you for not moving much. That is awful. That is a noob trap. If you played it like that and said this node is terrible, I totally get that because god, that is awful. And not to say this node is any good, it had some decent breakpoints with the columnus, but now that the recon is just kind of the better columnus, well, this skill completely doesn't see use anymore. But I still want to talk about it because it's not as bad as people make it out to be. And there's one breakpoint that we'll talk about it in a minute. I'm already smiling because I know what it is. So, the way this node works is you get a headshot kill, you get 3 stacks, and when you get that headshot kill, you get 6 seconds of no movement penalty. So, what you need to understand immediately, do not even worry about the movement penalty. First off, if I get stacks, look at how long 6 seconds actually is. This is way, way longer than you think. So I just sprinted for 12 seconds straight. I sprinted like 100 meters and only lost 6 stacks. So I'm sorry, 5 stacks. Don't even worry about that downside because the way you should be using this is with machine guns. So let me just dump my stacks really quickly and then let me show you. On a headshot, on a headshot critical, we do 143. On a non-critical, we do 129. Okay, now let's remember, 143 and 129. Now let's get our stacks. And now we do 203. So that's that's like a 30-something% damage increase. And we do 177. So yeah, it's just giving us like 35-40% damage, which for a machine gun is pretty good. So, machine guns can build stacks the fastest. Let me dump them one more time so I can show you. Machine guns have the easiest time building the stacks and, ironically enough, benefit the most from them. So, for a machine gun to build stacks, and we're basically at max stacks already. Yeah, it was literally snap your fingers and you get max stacks. And because the recon is so efficient with its ammo, using it to kill hordes is genuinely a pretty good idea if other people are frontlining. So, that's why Chameleon is bad. You never want to play around. Ignore that bottom row of text. Even if you have 0 stacks, you will go from 0 to max stacks in literally under a second if you're using this how it should be used. So, I also want to talk, chink in their armor is really terrible because slow firing weapons, like an infantry lasgun, you're just never going to use them to kill things like crushers. It's just not happening. They're just not really suited for that role. Even if you use every brittleness, it just takes a while. And if you're using an auto fire gun like the Recon Lasgun, Onslaught is 40% brittleness in 0.1 seconds. This is just 10%. So this is just a better investment. I already explained why camouflage is terrible. But I'll get a little more in depth. Standing still is the exact opposite of how you want to play Darktide virtually ever in every situation. And this node, it sucks. I have to admit, when I talked about this in the past, I was completely just misconception on how it worked. It doesn't really do much of anything outside of the stamina. So what you used to do, and why I used to say this was kind of okay, was there was a time when Deadshot was useful, and you would use Deadshot, and you would kind of use this to help offset the cost. But it's all about long-range assassin and just utilizing it as a machine gun damage boost. But really, this is just kind of a relic of the past, and even then it wasn't used that much. So, I saw this today on Reddit. Someone asked this, and people had some pretty interesting suggestions in the comments, and I would like to give my opinion on how to do this penance. This gave me the idea that whenever I talk about keystones, I can also talk about how to get their penances most efficiently. I would run a build like this, and I would run a very specific recon lasgun setup. Okay, this is where I start getting a little hype because this is cool. I've been wanting to show this off for a while. Okay, so look, if you use infested and unarmored with Dum Dum, Death Spitter, and 15 stacks of Marksman's Focus, you can do this. So look, you can one-shot these guys, you can one-tap them, and with any damage boost at all, you can one-tap these guys. So if you get it from your teammates or something, so you would use the dueling sword and crack grenades as like your armor. But honestly, I will say, this setup is no slouch at dealing with armor. This is strictly a worse setup than if you just played with this weapon normally, I will say. But you know, it's not helpless, but it is worse than the normal way you would build this. But I just want to showcase this really, really badly. So if there's a horde and you say pop a damage stim, look at what you can do. Look at how fast they all die. That was like, dude, that was like 300 kills in like 5 seconds. You can absolutely eviscerate hordes. You can kill hordes faster with this than like 3 fucking zealots that are going all attack speed and just focusing on horde clear with like thunder hammers or something. You can devastate hordes. So if I got that penance done literally in like 3 games by doing this. It's definitely a fun thing you can do. And some people in that thread recommended not wasting ammo shooting the horde. But I have to point out with the recon lasgun, you pick up like 160 ammo. So you pick up basically a whole magazine. And as you know, this weapon, I mean, just look at my ammo. This weapon does not have ammo problems. And when you consider that every single one of those bullets easily has the potential to be one-shotting everything in the horde, dude, it's honestly better than if you stacked up people with power swords and just had them go off on the horde. But yeah, I hope this explains how it works. Oh, something else I should probably showcase real quick since we're here is what this does against bosses. So if we stack it up to 15, you can just look at the boss's health bar. If you're able to wail on the boss while your teammates, say, you know, are kiting it and you're kiting behind them, I mean, you can make one magazine of this almost kill an entire boss. So you know, it does like almost double the damage output of the recon lasgun. It's just very unyieldy, and frankly, giving your team more damage through focus target is going to end up better. But since you're right here, you know, you want to do the penance, it can work. I would not recommend doing this, but hey, it can be a decent way to add a lot of boss damage if you feel like you're going to be able to kite behind your teammates. Okay, I hope you learned something from this.